it's been proven that the younger you are, the more radical you are in opposition of what the powers that be is now.
Yeah, but
So whoever is in power now, generations down the line, they will be most likely the opposite of what the powers that be are.
I don't agree with that necessarily. Because like I hear what you're saying, but there's also studies that show the same thing. Whereas like the older you get, you just turn more conservative type thing. Like yeah, you protest and you against everything and super open-minded in your youth, but as you get a job, as you get different things, you become more conservative in different ways because now you have things to lose.
Yeah,
not just this magical fantasy ideal world that a lot of maybe college age people that are usually the ones protesting and doing these types of things are. Once you have a family, a kid,
but you
priorities change.
You cannot take the generations where the boomers grew up, where everything was more settled, everything was more secure, with our generation, where everything is it's not even comparable anymore. So it's less unlikely that when our generation gets older, we get comfortable in the situation that we're in, because it's not the same. Everything is way more expensive.
I guess that's how. I guess like on a personal level, that may be how you feel. Because my take is the complete opposite. Whereas like the left has gone completely ridiculous. So in this liberal progressive ideologies, there's a lot of nonsense that be going on. It's like I don't want nothing to do with those people. Like if this is what you believe in, all of these types of things, I think a lot of what is being pushed as progressive or this is the new wave or what direction we need to go in, I think a lot of it is ridiculous. So it's like, and I'm at this age, so, and I'm not the only person that feels this way type of thing. I've seen different conversations of other people feeling the same type of thing. So I hear what you're saying, and it might be true for a certain segment, but that's not like a blanket statement that everybody feels that way.
Everyone is being paid enough money for the wages. Now I'm just asking you questions. Like I'm not asking just. Do you feel like the wages that are being paid for people, like the minimum wage, is it enough for people?
Inequality is all-time high.
Yeah. Do you believe that everyone has a right to get healthcare without having to pay for it?
Like you asking me if I believe these questions, but they're just like factual statements. Like it's not a matter of belief. Like it's a fact that everywhere in the world, it's a fact that everywhere in the world people don't have free. It's not something whether I believe do people have free healthcare or not. No, people don't have free healthcare. Like,
I think you're asking about your belief.
Or you believe that? Do you believe that everybody should have healthcare even though they don't pay for it?
It depends. How is it being done? Because it's like, yeah, it sounds good to hear all the Bernie Sanders thing. I agree with a lot of what Bernie Sanders is pushing for. And if you were to look at it, the free college, the free healthcare, these type of things, Andrew Yang talking about universal basic income, a lot of these things in terms of helping the poor and stuff like that, these are things I could agree with. I understand the validity of them. But that doesn't mean they can happen, because if I say free healthcare is like, okay, cool. Somebody's still paying for the healthcare or somebody's still paying for the college. If we have ways that we could work it out.
King, he asked if you believe in it, not if it was possible or how you would want to make it happen. He asked if you believe in it. That's just a yes or no question, G.
Do I believe in free healthcare? I guess, yeah.
That's it.
When you look at what we believe to be, like, these questions have been asked to a bunch of people, right? And the majority of people believe. Most of the questions that I wanted to ask, they agree with it. Even if you look, and when you look at Republicans, you take away the marketing, you take away the Obamacare, and you just call it, I don't even remember what the name of it was before they call it Obamacare.
Affordable Care Act.
Affordable, yeah. So if you name it, do you agree with the Affordable Care Act? They say yes. Once you say, do you agree with Obamacare? They say no.
Yeah, but I kind of feel that you kind of put like real doting people into this conversation, and I kind of feel that.
What bit?
I said, I kind of feel like you put the real doting people into this conversation, because like the people who don't know the difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, those are either just people who choose to be ignorant or people who just blindly following Trump, if you see what I'm saying.
But what? So what is the point of your line of questioning? Because I'm into the conclusion.
What I'm saying is when our generation becomes conservative, we still have those beliefs in play. So when the younger generation that's going to be more left than what we are, if you still have those beliefs, it's going to pass easier. You're conservatives, and the conservatives of people that's 40 years older than you is going to be way different. You are not going to have the same beliefs when you're older and more quote unquote conservative than what they are. You understand what I'm saying?
I can see what you're saying to an extent.
So
I hear what you're saying, but I still think that is an assumption based on your personal feelings. Like, I don't say mad shit, I think, because you're not allowed to say anything conservative. And there's many of my opinions I do not say on the podcast or anything because we're not allowed to say shit like that anymore. Like, you're homophobic, you're transphobic, you're a bigot, you're anti whatever it might be if you express any opinion that is not in line with the left. And there's many people that don't agree with that shit. And it's a growing number of people because it's just becoming thought police.
Yeah, but when we're talking, there's a difference between what you believe people should have to live and what.
Because
what
even
politics,
if
what type of politics you deem to be right or wrong. Like
your question was, do I believe in this, in free healthcare? It's like, yes, I could believe in that. Now let's pass it to legislation. What is going to be the plan of where this money that is going to come from the free healthcare is coming from? This is where you get the things where it's like, well, free healthcare is an idealistic dream because we don't have the whatchamacallits to do it, or we don't have the whatever is not in place, we don't have enough money to fill it. And or the ways that they're suggesting that, okay, this is where the money is coming from, we're gonna tax this, or we're gonna
tax the rich.
Yeah. And
like
this is where
this is already going on. Like this is where, like, because when a lot of times when people talk about it, then they tend to forget, like, for example, on Aruba you have the AZV. Like, you work, you pay a small amount of it, the whole country does, and the people that get sick don't need to worry about paying the bill for what they sick for. In the Netherlands, you have the same thing as well. If you're not working, then you have to pay for it. While you're working, you have the national healthcare service that the Netherlands provides. In the UK, you have the NHS. The only country where this thing does not exist, and they act like it's a pipe dream and it's impossible to do, is in the US.
I agree with that. That part I do definitely agree with. That and the US is fucked up in many ways and they do shit stupidly, but they feel they're the most amazing. Like, I do agree with that.
All of our listeners from California.
Well, this is a Caribbean podcast. We appreciate you listening, but this is Caribbean people's opinions.
Yeah.
So, and what I just wanted to just put a wrap to this, and then we see where the conversation goes from here. Like, if it was the case that everybody becomes as conservative as the people that are in power now, then we would not have seen any type of change in the millennia that we've been living as a species on this earth. We will not come to any hypothesis. Oh yeah, that's what's fucked up. Let's not do that anymore. Let's not change. So like you do become conservatives, but you still have some stuff in your head. Like I would find it highly unlikely in 20 years to find someone still, or the majority of people still in opposition of weed.
Opposition of what?
Of weed. For example, or the whole drug war conversation in general. Like I can see in 20 years this whole conversation gonna be wildly different. For at least a grand majority of countries compared to what it is now, because we still have some old guards in play that come from the whole demonizing drugs and all of that.
And I agree with what you're saying. It was like change, to me, change is the one certain thing, but the one thing that you see in a lot of places is like, okay, we do this thing, because even if you look at the country as the Netherlands, there's many people who take issue with the progressiveness of how the Netherlands is. When you look at the light sentences that pedophiles or sexual molesters and these type of things just get in this country, is like there's mad people who is like, so this is what progressiveness is? This is nonsense. We living in craziness, so let's get conservative. Like, change is the one thing that is inevitable. So even when you have a place that goes progressive, is like, cool, once we've been progressive for a certain amount of time, because people just want something different. It's not even to say like one is better than the other. We gonna have like we titled it. Okay, cool. Now we want Geert Wilders or some shit. Like that is how things go. It's like a cycle. It's a continuous evolving thing where you have periods of conservatism, periods of liberalism, periods of conservatism, periods of liberalism. It's just a constantly like revolving thing. So yeah, we in the generation where it seems that we super liberal and we pushing liberal everything.
Yeah, but
we was here in the 70s as well, like during the flower power time and the summer of love in the 1960s or 70s, whenever it was the hippie movement was a thing. But then we had to clamp down on that, and like we was here. A lot of what we say now is shit that was said at that time, but then we had conservative time that come and took over and squashed some of that sentiment and ideology. And now we in a time where it's like, okay, cool, we saw what the downfalls was of the conservative ideology. So now we push in liberalism, progressivism, just sexism, spectrum, and all of these types of things. Identify as whatever you feel like. Now we in this time.
I would agree with you, but we are not in a time where left people are in power yet. We just right now the left has a social power. But
what is Mark Zuckerberg? What is Mark Zuckerberg?
Social. That's what he said.
A social power. We don't have a.
So Mark Zuckerberg doesn't influence U.S. policies. Okay.
Yeah, but he's conservative.
Oh, okay.
He's a conservative.
Okay.
He's not left. He's not a leftist.
True.
He's a conservative. Like.
All right. So I guess you feel that way, but the rest of all the tech billionaires, like they're all conservative.
Yeah. They're socially left. They're legislatively conservative. And when I'm talking about, and there's a distinction, because I think this is where maybe me and King are clashing. When I'm talking about left ideals, I am not talking about social policies, because I don't deal with that. All I care about is laws that get passed that benefits people and not corporations. That's where I come from. So anything that benefits people with legislative power, I fight for. Social social norms, that battle has already been won, in my opinion. It's been won to the point now that it's going out of hand. But that doesn't change anything for people's lives and how they live in, with legislation and rules that's being written. Because left people are not in power to write laws.